All right, welcome back to Viewpoints Roundtable Propositions. Viewpoints Propositions Roundtable. We are here picking up with Proposition 2. It's kind of about animal rights and containment. We'll go more into detail of that later. I just want to bring up one thing that I read in the proposition. It's talking about making sure animals such as pregnant pigs, chickens, things like that, calves for veal, can stand up, move around, stretch their limbs for a certain portion of time every day. I read about exceptions though, exceptions for lawful slaughter. Does that mean if a calf is slated to be slaughtered that it doesn't have to be allowed to move its limbs for research, for 4-H, for fairs and rodeos? So does it actually only apply to illegal slaughter? This is just my thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and open up the discussion. We'll go ahead and start with Jeff. Where do you stand on Proposition 2, which refers to the containment of certain farm animals?
Well, I think I'd have to vote yes on Prop 2, just as an interesting experiment to see what would actually be the outcomes, to see if the opponents of the argument are actually correct that it will raise costs that much. Some of them say it will only raise about a penny an egg for the total cost. So that'd be interesting to see what actually happens.
All right. Also, some of... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As far as going yes as an experimentation, once again, that's really irresponsible. What you're doing is you're playing with the economy. That is not wise in any situation. The economy is not a toy.
Well, and there's nothing that they've shown so far to show that the economy would be adversely affected.
Do you really?
Even their own industry insiders say that it could only raise the cost of eggs by 1 or 2 pennies each egg.
There's the cost of the eggs per each egg, but then there's the cost of all of the eggs added up, the cost of the businesses which are producing those eggs. It's the cost to the consumer is different as opposed to the cost of the producer.
All right, so since we're talking about cost, there are also claims that by implementing this, and the farmers would have 7 years to comply to standards, but of course they say that's going to economically offset what they're doing. They're trying to say that people that buy the supply of eggs, veal, ham, whatever it is that's affected by this, are going to start outsourcing to Mexico, and a lot of people are making a big deal about that. What are the health standards for Mexico? Like, are their eggs going to be carrying salmonella? Are their calves going to have mad cow disease? It's a safety concern, and on the other hand of that safety concern, I've also heard people wondering, well, if a calf is sitting around 24 hours a day in its own filth, it can't get up, stretch its legs, it doesn't have a big enough pen, how is that affecting the safety and the quality of our food? Anybody on that?
First of all, if we were going to import like eggs and veal and all of that, we'd go out of state before we'd go to Mexico. So I don't think that's a big concern because...
Yeah, I agree that we'd certainly go out of state first. And to answer your question about the illegal slaughter, it's mostly to focus on chickens that lay eggs, which aren't slated for slaughter. They're sitting around making eggs. That's what they do. The health standards, I agree that when animals can't move much, when they are sitting in their own excrement, they get lots of diseases, and this will, if anything, make the food more healthy.
As far as the healthiness of the food goes, many supporters of Proposition 2 are very concerned with the welfare of the animals. But according to the American Veterinary Medical Association, Proposition 2 ignores critical aspects of animal welfare that ultimately would threaten to the well-being of the very animals which it strives to protect. So basically, there's got to be a better way to do this. It's not efficient enough. It doesn't take care of the business enough. You have to have it one way or the other. You can't have it kind of, you know what I'm saying? You can't have a halfway kind of a law.
All right, so Marianne's saying this law is not enough and it's not the right way. Anybody have anything against that?
Well, obviously, just because the steps you're taking towards health aren't large enough doesn't mean you should take no steps at all. there needs to be progress. You need to, prove sort of as an experiment, like Jeff was saying, that if you make the cages a little bit bigger, the economy isn't going to tank. People aren't going to, kill themselves because they can't buy eggs. Things will be all right.
All right, so we've got our argument on Proposition 2. We've heard some thoughtful arguments for, some thoughtful arguments against. I think we've gone ahead and covered all our bases on that. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add? All right, there we have it, Proposition 2. If you're going to vote yes or no, it's up to you.